What is up, bassheads? It's your boy, the OG Soda Pop Kid, coming to you direct tonight, a little earlier tonight, around 9 o'clock. I decided to do a little night demoing bass run. And like I said at the beginning, it's been a while since I did that, because back when I was, in the 150s and all of that, I always would drive at night and bass, especially if I put something new in the car, like a new line driver or EQ or a new radio or something like that. After I installed it, I used to drive to this little spot down on 366, right there where you make that turnaround when you pass up Bigfoot. I used to make that turnaround, and then right as you make that turnaround, there's this little spot right there. I would pull over in that little spot and start making adjustments. And it would sometimes be 2, 3 in the morning. I would make adjustments, turn my car on and turn it up to see how it sounds, and never got bothered. That's a public highway anyway, okay, which was explained to me by 4 different police officers that that's a public highway, and technically in the state of Pennsylvania, and I don't know about the rest of y'all, in the state of Pennsylvania, when you're on a public highway or public road, you can be as loud as you damn well please. Even the state trooper that I used to cut made that crystal clear when I was telling him about somebody complaining about how loud my system was off of Route 366 down there that leads to Route 66, that leads into Delmont, and you can make a left or a right on the 22 East or 22 West. You know what I mean? And if you make the left turn, you'll head out 66 to 380, 780, and all of that, which is another exit. Those are all public roads, public highways. That means tractor trailers, motorcycles, all hours of the day ride up and down those roads, and they're loud. And I had a guy some years ago complaining about my car. Man, I can hear him 5 miles away, and he just gets louder and louder as he gets closer. Tell him I said keep it down, and it was a dilemma then. I started flipping like, no, hell no, I ain't got to keep it down. It's a public highway, like the cops had told me. I can be as loud as I want. As a matter of fact, the state boy was like, you can pull off the side of the road on a public highway and crank your music up because you just feel like it. And can't nothing be done because it is a public highway. I hope y'all listening. Now, in certain other states, I've seen you can't blast your music on a highway, on the turnpike, leaving the turnpike, or none of that. That's bullshit. You're on a turnpike leaving the state. I know in Alabama, they have a rule like that, man. And in 2012, we were at Mecca State Finals in Alabama, and they didn't allow no loud music riding up and down the road. You know what I mean? From what I hear, they can actually take your whole car off you, and seize your stereo equipment and all that, man. I never moved to no place like that. That's corny. But anyway, I got me a nice bass ride out there, man. Very minimal to no traffic. The weather was nice and cool. A little foggy, but I took a whole hour, man. I went down, rode down 366, exit off to, what is that? Is that 380? It's like Murray's. I gotta find out what road that is when you exit off. Not the road that's going towards Monroeville, but exit off and you're going up the road like you're going towards Apollo. And you can exit off and go back on, get on to 66. And well, that's the way I take these different routes. This actually leads into the same route. So I took one route, exited off, went up about 5 or 6 miles that is, and then exit off again. Then I was back on 66, and then I rode straight off 66 straight down. I make a left on the 22. I ride straight down 22 about 3 or 4 miles, make a turnaround as I'm passing Murray Automotive Electric, and then come back, bam, exit back up onto 66 again, and yeah. So it was about a good hour, a little over an hour, and I'll tell you this, those LED lights right there, they light up the world. Now the first time I got to use them was on my way to Ohio to the big Ohio show, but it was raining like crazy. But they were doing good, but I couldn't see the real effects of them with it raining continually. So this is like the second night that I've drove this car at night since then. Okay, because usually I don't have this out at night, but I'm going to start taking me some night drives because sometimes in the day when it's real super hot and I'm tired and I'm at home with the fan and the air conditioner on and I fall asleep and I wake up and it's 7, almost 8 o'clock at night. Today I got up, I was like, man, you know what, man, I'm going for a night base, man. Real peaceful, minimal to no traffic night base run. About a whole hour. Filled my tank up and I was out there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so other than that, I think I did tell y'all that in the last video that we were going to look at some junkyards to find one of these hoods, and just that quick, my man Ben Hank down there at your neighborhood mechanic, I was down there today getting my brake line fixed because it was leaking. Got that fixed, and he went up on a line in Saxonburg at a junkyard. He found a hood that quick. And then they delivered it today. They said a couple days, but after I left there, he calls me. He's like, hey man, your hood's here and the original spring-loaded hinges. So tomorrow morning or sometime tomorrow, I'm going to go down there and look at this hood, because what we're going to do is we're going to sand it, get all the exterior rust off if there's any. He's going to soak those hinges in some, I don't know, WD-40 or something. You know what I mean? And put the original hookup back on here. You know what I mean? And when I was telling you guys about the indentation in the hood, if you look at the front of this, you see these, how it dips down here and dips down. Well, that's what the hood does. It does that same thing, and it actually lines up with that. And some years ago, when I was getting graphics put on like this, sometimes the graphics, if they went across this little divot, sometimes they would peel up off the divot. And you know, I would rub it back down, and it would peel up. But nowadays, I do clear coat over my graphics. I do. Somebody had mentioned that. Well, I've been doing that ever since I found out that would keep it stuck down. I use this stuff called KBS Diamond Coat. You can roll it on or spray it on. I'll show you what the cans look like. That's why the car shines like it do, because this is actually bed liner. Bed liner does not shine. Bed liner has that matte black look to it. And this is bed liner that has, it's shiny because it has that diamond coat over it. I roll it on. That's why it shines like that. Okay, so I've been doing that, and especially to keep the graphics hidden up under it. Now, this Stetson, I didn't clear coat over this yet. And I didn't because there's no telling if I'm going to keep the Brennan Stetson or not. I might go to another amp. So in that case, I'm going to be able to peel it off, to scrape it off. You know what I mean? So, and then back here is the same thing. Yeah, I didn't clear coat over your neighborhood mechanic yet. I'm seeing if Ben is going to stay my mechanic, if I'm not going to get mad at him for some. Yeah, this Stetson up here and that Resilient Sounds, I haven't clear coated over those yet, but I did clear coat over the actual bed liner. Like I'll put one coat over it, then put the stickers on it, and usually go over the stickers after that. I didn't do it on that yet. I didn't do it on them Resilient Sound speakers there yet. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to see if I'm going to stay with the company. And that new Batman, I didn't clear coat over that yet, but that's all irrelevant because this hood is going to come off and all of that's going to have to go on there. So, with that being said, that little indentations there, slopes or whatever, well, Ben is going to, on the hood, he said he would cut that out of there, and then weld a piece of metal across there to make it straight, to make it smooth. Or I might just say forget it. If I'm going to clear coat the stickers on, I might leave it there. Who knows? And I'm still going to have hood pins. I'm going to keep the hood pins. and get rid of the latch that's going to be on there that locks down into that. Because I pulled the last one off. I'm going to have that, I'm going to pull that, have that pulled right off because I'm going to keep hood pins. I like hood pins. But it's going to have the regular spring-loaded, original spring-loaded. And then they do sell the spring-loaded lifters anyway. They sell them. They're out there. I've seen them, brand new. So if push comes to shove, I'd end up getting some new ones. If those ever fail. But this hood would lift up way higher than this. When I had my originals on it, that hood lifted up. You know what I mean? Once again, my windshield wiper motor is broken, but I have a new one. And like I said, I'm eliminating the squirter on there, and I'm going to put it on a toggle switch. And there's the aftermarket squirter right there that I haven't even used yet. I just mounted it. So I'm going to do everything toggle switch, man. Because this car is a base car, and everything's different. I got toggle switches all over another dash. I'd rather have toggle switches because it seems easier to deal with. You can't vibrate them to death. And if you do, you can just put a brand new one in there. It just takes minutes to do that. Yeah, I think I might have, it might not even be the motor. It's probably the switch on the steering column. Just, you know, like everything else is breaking on that column. It's vibrating. So, what do you know? What do you know, man? Well, I be beating the waffles out of this car. And while I was street beating today, before I did it, I was messing around with some settings. Since I ain't got no EQ on the bass side, a line driver not on the bass side anymore. The radio is doing this thing all by itself. It has all that in it. I don't know why I was using the line driver in the first place. I always like that sound quality type thing, but it sounds good without that line driver. I do have one on the doors, and just like I said, sooner or later I'm going to get with one of them SQ guys and probably would not need one of those on the doors either. Once we go into that radio and know how to set everything, just from that I won't need an EQ anymore for that either. You know what I mean? So, but I was messing with the slopes and the frequency in the radio. Once upon a time I had it at 80 hertz, set at 80 hertz at minus 12. At one point it was like minus 6 dB per octave. Then I had it minus 12 per octave. And then I went down to 70 hertz at minus 24 dB per octave. And I wanted to have it at 60 hertz minus 24. But today I put it at 60 hertz minus 24 dB per octave, and it sounds a lot better. I notice every time I make that adjustment, it plays lower. It plays lower, like it has a deeper, lower type of punch instead of a higher. And I was driving around, and I kind of like it at 60 hertz at minus 24 dB per octave because it sounds richer. It has a richer, deeper sound. And I was like, I like this. That's why I took that ride. I like this. So now I got to go back and check my AC volts and put them back. Because when you make those adjustments, your AC volts changes too. So I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm probably going to take take out the speaker wires and make the adjustment again. And I had turned down my AC volts once I realized that those Stetson amplifiers don't like being at the high 16s. If it's one thing, I like the way they sound, I like them, I like the power, but you know, when you try different kind of amps, each amp is different, it's going to be finicky, so they don't like the high 16s. I was running at like 16.8, my fault, not 16.8, my fault, I take that back. I was running at like 15.9 to 16 and burping like that, and the amps was going into protector and stuff, not all of them, certain ones. And then I had a sub unload, the top sub on the passenger side, the very end. I had that sub act up and take an amp in to protect. This has happened twice. One amp burned up on the very far driver's side. That amp had burned up, and that was a brand new amp. Then I got that replaced. Then the amp on the opposite side, amp number one that is, that went into protect. Then I got another one. It went to protect. Then I got another one, and I was street beating at the Ohio show, and it went into protect street beating, and it never went into protect street beating. It always went into protect on high volume, full tilt burps, clean power. Okay, so I found out it was a sub. So I'd had that replaced right after the Ohio show. That very next day, I drove out to Resilient Sounds and brought another sub. Okay, so I just decided, well, okay, I'm afraid this might keep happening on burps. If I do full tilt burps, I just said that I would back away from burping and just do street beating, just do park and pound and twister and base boxing and all those street beating, and I would do dueling demos. Okay, and back away from slamming on my subs and amps, man. And you know, because it's getting to the point, I already explained to y'all some years ago of how, you know, I was spending constant money on car audio and then went into debt and then got consolidated for 4 years, came out of it, and it's trying to do it again. I'm not going to be jumping from sub to sub to sub to amp to amp to amp. Okay, street beating, like I told you, I always was a street beater, but I like to burp to see what numbers I was doing with my setup. All right, I did a 163.79 as my top score, almost a 64. I might leave it there. If I decide to burp, it might be those cases where somebody gets in the lane and they do a 160 in Radical X. I was like, oh, I can beat that. And then I go purposely do a 160.6 or something on purpose. You know, I might do that because I'm not going full tilt. But I'm more about my street beating now, man. I was just telling one of my teammates, Kevin Mayo, I was just telling him, you know, we didn't get to have a talk. I was telling him, and for years ago I said I was going to back away from Radical X, and kept doing it. For various reasons, you know, that's a exhibition class. And since it's an exhibition class, and you know, I felt, and I tried to talk to Shannon and Bud about this too. I've been driving from God knows where to God knows where in this car. From here to Tennessee, and this has been for years, and here to Kentucky, and here to Cincinnati, and here to Columbus, and here to places in Ohio I never even heard of, and here to there in this extreme car. And the dilemma with that was, you know, Radical X can't get best of show no more. And one time, according to Steve Stern, when he owned Mecca, the Radical X was never supposed to get best of show. And over the years, I was winning best of show. I was getting it until it was made known you can't win it, and there was people whining about it. Well, what Radical X are usually always louder than us. You know, this was back in 2016 on Facebook. Somebody went up on Facebook and was crying about it. And then I went up on there and I was like, yo, man, I'm in Radical X. I don't always beat everybody. I mean, in my region, I would win most of the time, but there's sometimes somebody in Modified 5 or Modified 4 would beat me. You know what I mean? And then me and this dude started getting into an argument. Oh, you just mad? No, I'm not mad because of nothing. Why are you crying? Just don't get in Radical X or don't. You know, I was like, and then another thing is I'm in Radical X and somebody in Mod 5 or Mod 4 or Mod 3 or Street 1 or any of them can do their class and the class that I'm in. So it's like a privilege that they can jump into an extra class. I can't. I can't go backwards. I can't go forward. Okay, so I kind of feel that that's unfair. So a few years ago, I was like, why should I even spend my money to enter Radical X anymore? Like, I can just bypass that. And I can enter Park and Pound 5 where it's like more competitive, it seems like, to be in Park and Pound 5. You know what I mean? Just do street beating and I won't hurt my speakers. I won't hurt my amps. I can't hurt them doing that because that's way below clipping. Like, I have my amp set at below clipping for blasting on them. So when I'm street beating, I'm way below clipping. I'm nowhere near clipping when I street beat. Nowhere near it. So maybe I should start setting everything for street to be like a little bit below clip on street beating, and maybe my Park and Pounds and that will be ridiculous if I concentrate on just street beating and set my gangs to that, to me beating, out there to the point to where, because right now, when technically, when I'm street beating or demoing, I know there's a certain volume that when I turn it up on, it doesn't sound natural no more. It sounds like I'm overdoing it, but technically ain't overdoing it because that's not clipping. But it's being able to tell what the speakers can tolerate. Y'all feel me? So it's just about what the speakers can technically tolerate. So I'll just leave it there. Okay, so I turned my AC volts down because them amplifiers they're pushing the hell out of them speakers. Is what they're doing. And so I had a speaker overload, or I'll use that. And boom, boom, boom. It made something happen to it, and for burping. All right, so I turned my AC volts down to 105.5, but I don't clip until 106, way up in the 106s. That's when I clip. And I figured, well, I'll just turn my gangs back up to 106 just for street beating, not go too far into it. And I really wish I had some subs that can handle that kind of power. Like the Godzilla's is 4,500 watts of RMS. If I'd had them, then I'd be able to turn my amps up. You know what I mean? And probably, But I like these resilient sounds. They sound good. They sound super good. I really like these speakers. I want to stick with them. Somehow wish that Robbie and them would come out with like a 4,000 watt V2 or something. Something that can handle more, that's all. Same basket, but with a 4-inch coil. I am a fan of 4-inch coils. But guys that don't like 4-inch coils, of course, are going to give me their opinion. Well, I don't like 4-inch coils, you should use 3. Guys I look up to actually was like, well, they was explaining a 4-inch coil, 3-inch coils is better for burping, 4-inch coils is better for street beating, but boom. So when I had 4-inch coils and I was street beating, they can handle more power in the street beat, but those resilient sounds can handle. Now they're 2,500 watts RMS. I'm pretty sure if I asked Lucas, well, how much power can they really take street beating and for how long? I've only asked him how much burp power they can take, and they said 10K. All right, but there we go. So I'm gonna concentrate on street beating. I don't know if the subs needed more breaking, and I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not really fully broken. Yada yada yada. There we go, and maybe sometime I'll come back. You know what I mean, to burping. But I'm trying to stick with a company. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be hopping companies and constantly spending my money up on car audio, man. It's already bad enough that I'm doing certain things to the car alone. And you know what I mean? Trying to better the car, keep the car running. I tried to put a high torque starter on there, but that Bendex, I don't know what these guys did. No matter what I did, I had 14 shims on that doggone starter, and it still kept screaming. No, it wasn't sticking on the Bendex. It would go in and come out, but it was scraping. And no matter what I did, scraping and sparking, it would start the car, but it was scraping and sparking, which means it was going to end up ruining the Bendex, the teeth in the Bendex, or the teeth in the flywheel, or both. Okay, so I said, man, I put my regular starter back in. I took it back and got my money, but I don't know why. That starter was for an Oldsmobile, Pontiac, and Buick, not unless somebody brought one for another car and put it back in that box. I don't know. Or maybe that Proform, that brand, is faulty. Maybe if I go with another brand, it may work like it's supposed to work. You're supposed to only have to put one shim behind it, not 14 of them. You know what I mean? And Murray Automotive Electric ordered me one, and I never went to go look at it. I'm going to go look at it to see if it looks exactly like my old starter, but it's just a high torque. Now that'd be different. But nevertheless, yeah, that was that, man. That was a waste of time, waste of money. I was down here last Thursday from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. on my back under this damn thing and taking it off, shimming it out, putting it on, taking it off, shimming it out, putting it on, shimming it. Now the screws don't fit back and they're too short. I had to go to the hardware store, get new screws. Yada, yada, yada. I had my boy Dre here helping me so that I wouldn't have to come from under here. You just hand me stuff. You know, and all it did was, man, I took it back. I put my regular one on here, man. I mean, I just was trying to get things that would last longer. But nevertheless, the car is running. It runs, it fires up. And I'm out there driving with these LEDs on here. And these things light up the world, people. I mean, it almost lights up the other side of the street when you're riding up the road. And people was flashing at me like I had high beams on. No, I had on the low beams. But when they would do that, I would flash my high beams and show them, like, here's the high beams, clown. Now you really blind. I'm going to show y'all again. I'm just going to turn the low beams on. Then I'm going to turn on the high beams before I'm done with this video. My fault. I'm not going to turn on the fog lights. I'm just going to turn on just the low beams to these. I ain't even got on the marker lights or nothing. It's just those without the fog and marker lights because I have them on as well. So these are just the low beams right here. These are the low beams. Now I'm going to turn on the high beams. I turn on the high beams, it lights up both sides of the street. This thing ain't playing. Them lights are not playing. They're not playing, y'all. Now these are the high beams. They're the high beams. They have these on Amazon, boy. I'm going to buy another pair just to have some backups. I'm not kidding either. Them things are monsters, bro. Now watch how they change and I turn them off from here. I'm going to point it this way. Get down here. What are you doing? See, I turned off the high beams. Now the regular beam. Let me turn on the fog lights and all that. Now the fog lights and the marker lights are on now. So that makes it, them fog lights alone, they're LEDs as well. The direction I'm pointing this in. All them on, it's cool. That lights up something. You can see a distance, like a distance. Yeah, I'm feeling them. Y'all get the point, so let me turn them on. Turn them all off now. Okay. So that's that, people. So it's your boy, the OG, Soda Pop Kid. So come to August 3rd and all of that, I'm going to try out my parking pound. Man, I'm going to try to get my parking pound up to par. All right, and quit relying on this burping stuff, man. You know, maybe in another division, maybe in Base Wars, I may burp. And I may, like I said, I may burp, but I may not go full tilt. I may not get serious about the burping. I may, you know, somebody goes in there doing a 60, 160 point something. I might go in there and purposely do a 61. I might play the sandbag game. But I'm not going to go full tilt on this thing and be hurting my equipment, man. I'm tired of this and they got to take it back or drive it back or send it back or I'm tired of all of that, man. I want my stuff to last me. I want to enjoy it, man. I don't want to be changing it every year unless somebody gives me a full, honest to goodness sponsorship where I pay for nothing. You know, full sponsorship. You know what I mean? So that's that, people. So it's your boy, the OG Soda Pop Kid. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I'll be back at y'all tomorrow. I'm going to do a little videotape on that hood when I go and check it out, okay? And show y'all what the actual hood look like. Peace.